You've got to admit, this is looking odd.
Of course we will look into it. Yes, I'm aware that it's an election year. Keep a hold of your hat, Counselor. Now is not the time to lose your nerve.
Anyone could pawn a ring.
It would appear that someone has hocked a rose gold wedding ring and matching engagement ring. Sound familiar?
But if you take it along with all of the other indicators...
Cole, Hugo Moeller was identified by the school's groundkeeper. He's our guy.
Deirdre Muller.
Press the pawnbroker and see what you can find out. The address is 348 South Main Street. The Muller case goes before the grand jury next week, and the DA does not want any egg on his face.
Witnesses have fingered the wrong guy before.
Then get out to the railroad depot on Santa Fe Avenue. We have another poor unfortunate found this morning beside a railroad line. 40-year-old white woman.
He ran, for God's sakes.
Right, Skipper.
And he always maintained he was set up.
You're dawdling, lad. Get out there and catch me another evildoer. This is no time to talk, detective. Far too much to do.
Another body and Deirdre Muller's ring. The Emperor may soon have to come to terms with the fact that he's wearing no clothes.
When exactly did you get that book of riddles shoved up your ass, Phelps? Is that what your old man paid college tuition for?
How can I help you boys?
Detectives Phelps and Galloway, LAPD. You have a rose gold wedding and engagement ring?
David Bremner. Am I going to get something for this pledge? I gave that bum money, now you guys are going to leave me short.
How much did you give him?
$50?
Try another number.
20?
Try 10 and feel lucky you're getting it.
I have the rings right here.
Does this mark mean anything?
Hallmark. Gives you an idea of the quality.
What's this mark here?
Maker's mark. Usually traceable. That one came from Hartfield's Jewelry down on Broadway.
Thanks for the tip. What have you got on the guy who brought these in?
Goes by the name of Percy B. Shelley. Gave an address. 15 Poland Street, London, Tulare County.
Can you give us a description of the man who pawned these rings?
Not sure. Medium height, medium build. Dark hair, I think. Sorry. He just had one of those forgettable faces.
We'll be in touch, Mr. Bremner.
I've got books to balance, detectives. Come on, guys, get lost. I've got marks to chase down.
We have a problem.
We could have the local troopers check out the Tulare County address.
The address is bogus. Perp is having fun with us. The guy who's been sending the Dahlia letters is also the guy who pawned these rings.
How do you figure that one?
Percy Bysshe Shelley wrote the poem that came with the Dahlia letter. If the Dahlia letters are genuine, then the man who killed Elizabeth Short may have also killed Deirdre Muller.
And how do we prove that, Phelps? Skipper ain't gonna like this one bit.
We're gonna have to rely on this guy tripping up on his own vanity.
I know we got McCaffrey in the can, Cole, but the tire iron was stamped Rawlings Bowling Alley. We gotta work that angle.
Just a moment, Detective. McCaffrey was formerly under surveillance by the Red Squad. Convictions for petty theft. Dishonorable discharge from the Army during training at Syracuse. Assault on a local woman. Says he almost beat the woman to death.
We need to follow up this lead from the pawnbroker, Phelps. Back to the pawn shop. It's an important lead, even if it does rip a big hole in our last case. See what the clerk has for us on the rings.
Blood splatter on the carriage. She must have been struck while standing up.
You boys ready? Follow me.
We should keep this development with the rings under our hat until we speak with the captain.
We're all on the same team, Rusty.
Chain of command, Phelps. The skipper will decide who needs to know. You got it?
I get it, Rusty. I just don't like it.
Your show now. Get to work. My job is to come and get you. Rest? Up to you.
Hard, isn't it?
Yeah. I look after all the rail depots.
What have you got?
The Negro, Nelson Gaines, called it in. I came down here to make sure him and the other guy, Jameson, stuck around.
Jameson found the body?
Something like that. Guy makes me sick.
We'll talk to the coroner. Keep an eye on both of them. The smell?
Very good. There is the usual evacuation smell, but it appears she's been living rough for quite some time.
Very strong smell of alcohol.
Well, the autopsy will tell, but I would assume that she was inebriated.
Another missing ring. What have we got here?
White female, approximately 40 years of age, lipstick smudges on the face, but no writing, at least nothing legible. A blunt force trauma to the temple, nose, and eye regions. Ligature marks point to the probable cause of death being strangulation.
Any idea of the time of death?
From her temperature, after midnight would be my guess. Certainly seems I've been swabbing a lot of bare fingers recently.
Can you be more exact about the time of death?
No later than 2 a.m. The state the body was in, a 1 or 2 hour window is the best I can do. If you want a full report, you have to let me work. We can talk about it later, Phelps.
Maybe someone at Mensch's will remember her. Someone was trying to get her to come home. What are you thinking, Ray?
The city keeps tossing us dead bodies. We're just running to catch up. There's more work to do here, Phelps. Leave me be. I've got no more for you.
You want to leave me alone so I can get some work done? Go play in front of the trains. Stay out of my way and I will stay out of yours. Everybody's happy.
The witnesses, Detective, they have the information you're after. My job is to secure the crime scene. You need to review the evidence and speak to the witnesses.
Detective Phelps and Galloway, homicide. Can you tell me exactly what happened?
We were shutting cars over to the main line when I saw this man here lying on top of this woman. The woman wasn't moving and seemed to be in a bad way.
What time was this?
About 7:30 this morning, sir.
Thanks for your help. Have you given Patrolman Hart your details?
I have, sir.
Thank you. You can go now.
You should talk to that man, see what he has to say for himself. Something funny about that man, sir.
Detective Phelps, LAPD homicide.
John Ferdinand Jameson.
We need you to answer some questions, John.
If you don't mind, I prefer Ferdinand.
Don't push your luck, knucklehead.
You found the body?
Yes, I did. I work here. I was coming off shift and headed home.
You just came across the body?
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Why didn't you report the body, Jameson? Do you know how this is going to look to a jury?
A jury? What gives? I could tell that she was dead. I came through here about midnight last night. She wasn't here then.
Let me belt him again.
You're lying, Jameson. I think you lured this poor woman out here and killed her.
You're crazy. What makes you say I killed her? Live women really aren't my thing.
Shut up. Just shut up. Or you're going to get it again.
What were you doing to the body, Ferdinand?
Are you sure you won't be upset?
Try me, Ferdinand.
I was kissing her. It's not against the law. There's no law against it.
Shut up and take your beating like a man.
Turn out your pockets, Ferdinand. Classic Carmine. Is this yours, Ferdinand?
No. I found it near her purse. I thought she could use some lipstick.
Rusty, stop! Don't hit him. You went through her purse?
It wasn't like she needed it. I took a look.
Did you take any money?
Wasn't any to take. I found her lipstick and her matchbook over on the mat. Not much else.
You found her lipstick. What did you write on her body?
What are you talking about? I didn't write anything.
So you kill women and interfere with them. That's your M.O., Jameson?
I know some people might find what I do unusual, but I don't kill people. How can you prove that I killed this woman? I'd like to go if you're quite finished.
You're under arrest, Jameson. We'll see how this plays out. Until then, you can think a little on how you'd like to be treated if you were found dead.
I'm telling you, it's not illegal. Me and some friends of mine...
Clyde, can you get this sack of shit into a cell? I'll deal with him later.
Sure, Rusty.
Come on, officer. You gotta give me a proper chance to explain. Keep that crazy partner of yours off me. I know it seems weird at first, but over time... Quit staring at me like I'm some kind of freak.
We could go over to the lot and see what they know about her.
That's going to be difficult, Cole. The Keystone Studio lot closed back in 41.
This is a chit for personal items, not booze. It's an angle worth investigating.
There should be a game well or a phone somewhere. There should be a game well or a phone somewhere. See if you can get an address in the liquor store.
I need an address on Levine's Liquor, closest store to the Santa Fe Avenue rail yard if possible.
Just a moment, Detective. Closest store would be the one at 939 South Hope Street.
You read that those goddamn Chinese want to sell the relief food that we're sending them?
Yeah, I read about that.
Those people are starving. They can't do that.
They want to sell the food to fund the civil war against the communists.
Really? I guess that's okay then.
Armies can't fight without food. You can spend all your money on weapons, but you still have to have the will to fight. Unfortunately, the Reds will win in China.
Watch your mouth. You know what you're saying?
The people of this country overthrew a king. You think the Chinese will balk at an emperor if they are starving? It's either McCaffrey or Tiernan, sir. I think Jameson is an aberration.
All right, we're rolling. Out to the rail depot. I'm pretty sure we didn't join all the dots at that crime scene, Phelps. Let's go back. Reporting officer, then the coroner. Carruthers has a body he has to inspect. He'll wait a couple of minutes. Look around. Looks like she's been sleeping rough. I'll leave the examining to you, partner. Looks like we might actually have a couple of witnesses this time. Get their statements.
Drink, fellas.
Phelps, Galloway, homicide. We need to ask you some questions concerning Evelyn Summers.
I'm Walter Mensch. Evelyn Summers, what is it now?
You knew Evelyn?
As well as I wanted to know Evelyn. She's a pain in the ass, always coming in here, cadging drinks, never had any money. She was in just a couple of nights ago.
Did she ever tell you where she was staying?
I don't know. I think she was living rough. She had that kind of stunk about her.
Who did she drink with?
A bunch of these guys. Ask around. The regulars might have something else to tell you, but I don't. You're free to speak to the regulars. Just don't shake them too hard.
You a friend of Evelyn Summers?
Who's asking?
Very cute. You know who's asking.
I know my rights.
You don't have any. Answer the question.
Evelyn mooches for drinks. I don't have any time for that.
Was that so hard?
Keep writing me, copper. Looks like trying to enjoy a quiet drink is against the goddamn law now, huh? One more time, pal, and I'll break your fucking jaw.
What's your name?
Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Mind if I ask you some questions, Mr. McCaffrey?
I'm just a starving writer, Detective. What do you want to ask about?
Evelyn Summers, and why she was found beaten and strangled in the rail depot on Santa Fe.
Okay. I see your point.
How well did you know her?
I can't say that I knew her. It was more like I was aware of her.
Did you see Evelyn last night?
No, I was at home, writing.
Can anyone corroborate that?
Good choice of word. Am I a suspect?
Do you want to get dragged into this, McCaffrey? Do you want us to get interested in you?
She hung out with this powder puff, James Tiernan. They haunted the public library together.
How well do you know James Tiernan?
I know he works some kind of plebeian job at Rawlings Bowling Alley.
I think you're lying, McCaffrey. You saw Evelyn last night.
Unless you're some kind of oracle, I think you're going to have a hard time proving that, Detective. I've been helpful. I think it's time you and your colleague ran along. If you don't mind, I'm trying to grasp a very elusive thought. At the moment, all I want to do is talk to the bottom of my glass. Back here! I've not said my piece yet. You guys got somewhere you need to be? You're ruining the ambiance. Haven't you got parking tickets to hand out? This interview is over.
Do you have a criminal record, Mr. McCaffrey?
Nothing serious. I've had a few skirmishes.
But nothing reprehensible.
No. The odd parking ticket. That kind of thing.
Do you want to save me some time, or do you want me to look up your file?
Industrial disputes, strikes, workers' rights, that kind of thing.
A regular fifth columnist. Nice to meet you, comrade.
How about murder, McCaffrey? You ever been involved in a murder before?
If I'm carrying the mark of Cain, you're going to need something to prove it, detective. You're ruining my drink. It's time to move on.
You say you barely knew Evelyn?
Yes, that is correct.
And what was your opinion of her?
Pity, bordering on contempt.
I don't like you, McCaffrey. You look like someone who's trying too hard, like your whole life is some kind of performance. I think you need to give us something to get us out of your life.
I don't like you either, you pompous, stiff-necked patrician. You think I don't see through you and all the other minions of the ruling class?
You're lying, McCaffrey. You looked down your nose at Evelyn, but you knew her, and you have some idea of what happened.
I hope you're holding aces. I'm telling you again, I barely knew the woman. Run along back to the station, officer. Someone really should think about letting you people out less often.
Why would you lend her your book on metaphysics if you only knew her in passing? It was more than that. A Renaissance man like yourself, lending his books to his acolytes.
She hounded me about that goddamn book, and then she lifts it from my apartment and lies to my face that she didn't take it, as if she could even comprehend any of it. I saw her go into a hotel with Tiernan last night. They had booze in a paper bag. He's your man.
Thank you for the information, Mr. McCaffrey. McCaffrey, we're not finished with you. You had your chance to cooperate. What did you make of McCaffrey?
There'll come a day, and it's coming very soon. We'll run him and the rest of his pinko buddies out of Los Angeles.
I meant as a suspect, Rusty.
I say we check out Mentz's place. By the smell, this broad spent a good chunk of time hopping bars. Back to the bar's our best bet. Let's go. If this Summers lady was always bugging people for drinks, someone's going to remember her, Phelps. Ask around.
When exactly did Evelyn work in the pictures?
What can I do for you?
LAPD, Phelps and Galloway. We're making inquiries into the murder of Evelyn Summers.
Evelyn? She's dead?
You knew Evelyn Summers, Mr.
Robbins. Yes, I knew Evelyn. I was a good friend of her ex-husband. She kept some of her stuff here.
Can you show us, please?
Sure. Come this way.
You got some fine stock here, Mr. Robbins. You know, you let us take some for the road, this case might get solved a lot quicker.
He's joking, Mr. Robbins.
She kept a bed here, but I probably shouldn't have let her. An alcoholic in a liquor store, that was never going to work out, was it?
We'll take a look around.
A few years ago, she worked in legal copyrights for music.
Rawlings Bowling Alley. Maybe Evelyn did something other than drink in her spare time.
Rawlings. I know that place. Corner of 9th and Grand. A lot of cops bowl there on Tuesday nights.
I'm guessing Evelyn hadn't held down a job for quite some time before she was killed. She wasn't always such a loner. We're trying to account for Evelyn's movements yesterday.
She came by in the morning.
A social visit? To pick up some of her things?
She had a couple of bucks and bought a quart of rye.
Any idea where the money came from?
She didn't mention it, but she did say the booze was a present for a boy. She said they had been fighting and she had to make it up to him.
She was an alcoholic and your friend, and you still kept selling her booze.
You ever try to stop an addict, detective? Better me than having her buy methylated spirits from the hardware store.
She was murdered late last night and still extremely drunk. You expect me to believe that she bought a quart here in the morning and it lasted her and her friends a whole day?
You have some way of proving that I'm lying about when she came in here? You should learn to make the distinction between the people who are helping you and the people who are not.
We got the impression that Evelyn had been sleeping rough of late.
It became difficult for me to have her staying here. Her mother was trying to get her back on the straight and narrow. But she's old now. And to be honest, you have to have a good reason to want to get back on.
When Evelyn bought the booze, did she say who she was meeting or where she was going?
A young drinking friend of hers, I think. Don't recall his name.
Why the ongoing interest in Evelyn, Mr. Robbins? You sure you had nothing to do with the breakup of her marriage?
You think you can prove that I was involved with Evelyn? That's a pretty low blow. I've heard some pretty terrible ones over the years.
Do you know a friend of Evelyn's by the name of McCaffrey?
Not personally.
She talked about McCaffrey.
Supposedly he fought in the International Brigade in Spain and in the miners' strikes back in Virginia.
We're struggling for leads, Robbins. Did she know McCaffrey?
She idolized him. From what I gather, the feeling was far from mutual. He seems to peddle a revolutionary stance, fixing the ills of society. You could see how it would appeal to down-and-outs like Evelyn.
You sure you don't know McCaffrey? The book was in your room.
I would have thought it was pretty obvious the book was among Evelyn's things. You think you have some way to link me to McCaffrey? I know life's not perfect. I'm sorry about how it turned out for Evelyn. But I don't think we have to destroy everything and start again. I'm no revolutionary.
Evelyn was reading Aristotle?
Evelyn wasn't stupid. The only stupid thing about her was her need to drink.
And she was borrowing books from Grosvenor McCaffrey. Were you and Evelyn close, Mr. Robbins?
Not many people will be sad she's gone. I'll be one of the few. I'm happy to help, Detective, if I can. I hope the information I gave you is helpful. I hope you catch the guy. Gentlemen, I have a store to run. No offense, but having cops in the store scares away customers. That's all? I can be more used to you than that. You sure know how to rub a guy the wrong way.
Thanks for your help, Mr. Robbins.
No problem. Hey, I'd like to make arrangements for the funeral. You think I could get in touch with Evelyn's mother?
Put in a call to the watch commander at Central Station, Mr. Robbins. He'll be trying to reach the next of kin.
Thanks. Get the guy, huh? Evelyn never hurt anybody.
I thought you were Evelyn's friend, Robbins.
You should learn some manners, some goddamn respect.
We're catching murderers, not running a popularity contest.
Car 11K, Car 11 King, KGPL.
11 King.
A message from Captain Donnelly. Return to Central. Code 2.
11 King, en route. Let's not keep the man waiting, Phelps. I say we try the liquor store next. I could get a short dog for the car. We must have missed something at Levine's Liquor. For a person living rough, keeping things there must mean something. Let's get back there. Speak to the guy in the apron. He might have something. Check through her belongings, Phelps. Question the owner. He must know something.
The captain is downstairs with Ray Pinker and Carruthers. That's a lot of brass down there to be kept waiting, boys. Downstairs, detectives. Everyone's waiting on you.
They're waiting for us downstairs, Phelps.
What's this about, Captain?
Ray and Mal have some concerns over the Henry and Muller cases, which I don't want aired outside of this room.
The evidence is solid, Captain.
I agree, Rusty. It's just that corpses keep piling up.
Copycats.
I've been banging the same drum. But the notes and the lipstick messages.
Evelyn Summers, Cartel Classic Carmine. Each woman, same brand, same color.
Teresa Terrelson didn't have a lipstick message.
Technically, you're right, Rusty. She didn't have any lipstick, but she did have a message. We found it beneath her dress, scraped with a sharp stick.
What did it say?
You sure you want to know?
Ray?
As far as we can be sure, it said cunt BD.
That's one way of looking at it.
Looking at what?
Cunt is all about access, Phelps. You're married, so yours is mortgaged. Some of us like to pay by installments. This guy doesn't like to pay at all.
Why are you so angry, Mal?
Because I just had to fire one of my assistants. He was a friend of Jameson's. God knows what he might have been up to.
Captain, we have good leads in the Summers case, but it's up to you to decide how we proceed.
Keep this under your hat for now. And to follow up on Evelyn Summers, I want daily reports.
We got our orders. Back to the Summers case. Get an address for McCaffrey. He'll have blown the bar. I'll meet you outside.
I need an address for a Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Grosvenor McCaffrey. Apartment 6, 126 Yale Street, between Ord and Alpine.
You heard the call. The skipper doesn't like to be kept waiting. Are you crazy, Phelps? When the captain calls you in, you get your ass to the station. Speak to the desk and find out where Brown and Donnelly are, and let's check in.
What are you waiting for? Get after him!
We might go faster if we weren't carrying the extra weight. These are flashy cars to be parked outside a bowling alley.
The lanes attract a fast-living individual with money to burn, Cole.
Or a middle-aged individual with the need to feel virile.
Another runner. Well, at least we've got a suspect.
Why do they always run? I'm sure we've got the wrong person in more than one of these homicides, but they always seem to lam it.
You know, your theories are not airtight by any means, Phelps.
If this isn't the killer, we can at least get him for reckless endangerment.
That's unless he runs into a wall and saves us all the trouble.
What if they run because someone's setting them up? Because they feel like the deck is stacked against them?
Don't make up ridiculous stories for them, detective. Leave that to the perp's imagination. Come on, Phelps, you're losing that little weasel. That little pen boy's getting the best of you, Cole. I hope you're not letting him slide because of your stupid theories, Phelps. The joyride is over, kid. Let's bring this kid crashing back down to earth. Get me in close, Cole. It's time we ended this madness. He's going through the square.
I hope the people see him in time to get out of the way.
Whoa, looks like we're going into the tunnels.
God damn it, he'll kill himself.
It's all right, as long as he doesn't kill us, I'm okay with it. God damn, it's a train up ahead. Watch out, Cole. Don't catch that train, Phelps. Coming right at us. Oh my God, this kid's crazy. He's gonna kill us. When I get my hands on that son of a bitch, and that is the end of that. It's about fucking time.
Hello, Rusty. 2 on your usual lane?
I'm Detective Phelps. Homicide.
You must be new. What's your shoe size?
This is business, Florence. You got a guy, works here by the name of Tiernan?
Sure we do. He's a pin setter. Clears the jams, works the gutters. Go right in. He'll be hopping around the lanes toward the back. He's a nice boy.
Thanks, ma'am. We're conducting an investigation, ma'am. Do you know the name Evelyn Summers?
Sounds like I should. Oh, maybe it could be Jimmy's friend.
Jimmy?
James Tiernan. He's a pin setter. One day he introduced me to a lady after work. It stuck in my mind because she was much older, too old for him.
Where can we find Jimmy, Florence?
He'll be hopping around the lanes toward the back.
Thanks, ma'am.
You'll find Jimmy monkeying around with the pin machines. Why not play a couple of games, Rusty? Your partner looks like he could use a little cheering up.
Let's go get him.
It's down the left side of the alleys.
There! Tiernan! LAPD!
Next stop has got to be the bowling alley. I say we head back to Rawlings. Details on this girl are pretty thin on the ground. That's Florence, over by the counter. Nice lady. She'll give us the juice. So the kid is in back somewhere. Let's pick him up.
If you think the list is exhaustive, Rusty, who am I to argue?
Listen, let's just work the case at hand, shall we? Then we can sit down and put all the puzzle pieces together at a later date.
I'll hold you to that.
McCaffrey is in apartment 6. Doesn't look like anybody's home.
Terrible shame. Means there's nobody to let us in. You want to do the honors, Phelps? Take a look around.
He said he was at home. He said he didn't know her. And we have the book.
Let's see Carruthers argue his way out of this one.
Torn from the letter we found beside the body. At the very least, I'd say it ties McCaffrey to the scene.
Is that you, Grosvenor? Who are you guys? What are you doing in here?
We're from the LAPD, ma'am. Do you know where we might find McCaffrey?
I'm his neighbor. Is he in trouble?
Look, lady, we need to find him, and in a hurry. Are you going to give me trouble?
He has a pigeon coop up on the roof. He spends his mornings up there when he's been drinking.
How do we get up there?
Down the hall and up the stairs. I've told you where he might be. That's the best I can do. Talk to Grosvenor. I've got housework to do.
Drunk and in command of a carrier pigeon. Surely we can write him up for that. A citation at least.
Grosvenor McCaffrey! You a runner, McCaffrey? Stay and fight the good fight. Running on a hangover, McCaffrey? Sit down and we'll talk. Throwing punches get you high, Grosvenor? That it? Blood's running now, isn't it? You're getting angry, Mr. McCaffrey. For a man of the people, you're awfully self-serving. McCaffrey, you're under arrest on suspicion of murdering Evelyn Summers.
We need to get downtown and wrap this thing up. It's got to be McCaffrey. Unless Tiernan set him up. You don't think that asshole Jameson could have done it, do you? Whoever did it. At least it wasn't that Dahlia fuck. We have a list of over 200 suspects. His name was never on it.
How do you know that McCaffrey didn't do the Dahlia?
Let's go muscle McCaffrey. You got the address? Let's put that smug bastard McCaffrey up against the wall. We have the address.
We should pay a visit to that fifth columnist at the bar, Grosvenor McCaffrey. Something tells me he's the missing piece. Call me a red basher, but I think we should look in on that fellow traveler from the bar, that McCaffrey guy.
Search the place, Phelps. We're looking for something solid that ties McCaffrey to the crime scene. McCaffrey's away with the birds. Let's ruffle his feathers.
You sure you can make it stick with one of these suspects, gentlemen? Don't fail me, young Phelps.
Why did you run, Tiernan?
I was the last one to see Evelyn that night. I knew you would think it was me.
Can you describe your relationship with Evelyn?
I barely knew Evelyn.
She was old enough to be your mother, Tiernan. Were you banging her?
You a mama's boy, Tiernan?
Sounds like half an answer to me, Tiernan. Were you sleeping with her?
That's none of your business.
Keep lying to me and I'll have you charged and in front of a grand jury before your feet touch the ground.
How can you possibly prove Evelyn and I were more than friends? How come this is so hard to believe? A man and a woman getting along, liking each other just as friends.
McCaffrey gave you up, Tiernan. He says he saw you go into your hotel with Evelyn.
I met Evelyn at the public library. We would read for a while and then go for a drink. Last night we went back to my hotel room and had some more to drink. I must have passed out. I woke up and she was gone.
What time was this?
Around midnight, maybe later.
And there's no one who can confirm this?
No, there isn't. I knew you wouldn't believe me.
You and Evelyn were drinking together last night, and she had no other place to stay.
I don't know what happened last night. I don't remember.
Come on, Tiernan. Either you killed her or she left the hotel. Why did she leave?
Look, I may have yelled at her. I was very drunk. It's hard to remember.
If you don't give me some reason to think differently about this, Tiernan, I'm gonna have to go to the DA.
I drank half a bottle of scotch. I don't remember a goddamn thing.
You're lying, Tiernan. You'd been fighting with her. You fought and...
I'm not lying. She got up and left. That was it. Don't talk about how it was between me and Evelyn. You don't know anything.
She left, but she came back. She bought you a quart of whiskey to make it up to you. She told the liquor store owner. You're in deep trouble, buddy.
She said she loved me. She wanted to care for me. But she would never stop talking about McCaffrey. McCaffrey was a writer. McCaffrey was a hero. McCaffrey cared for the little guy.
Did you kill her, Tiernan?
I might as well have. I kicked her out. She had nowhere to go. She wanted something of his.
You don't like McCaffrey, do you, Tiernan?
He's full of the common man routine, but he props up a bar like the rest of us. Evelyn thought he was going to be a great novelist. And he had nothing but vitriol for her.
We either hang this on you or McCaffrey. You better give us something.
Well, McCaffrey's been in trouble with the law before. I mean, he always makes out it was some kind of labor dispute, but, I'm not so sure.
You hate McCaffrey. You're trying to frame him for this.
You've got the wrong guy. How can you prove that? I'm telling you, McCaffrey did this. Do something about it and leave me alone. You spoken to McCaffrey? I can go, it's all been cleared up?
Not quite. We have one more question we need to ask, James. Then I think we will be done.
Sure. Go ahead.
So Evelyn passed out, and you walked out. What happened next?
I woke up in the morning, very hungover. I thought Evelyn would have come back.
After she left, you never saw her again?
No. Unfortunately, no.
McCaffrey's pointing the finger directly back at you, James. You better think of something and think of it fast.
I've told you all I know. I wouldn't do a thing like this.
I know you're lying, James. You went out looking for her. Tell me what really happened.
I don't know what you're talking about. How can you say I wasn't in that hotel room?
You wound up at McCaffrey's. You were still incredibly drunk. You passed out on his floor. It's time to tell me what really happened.
McCaffrey woke me up the next morning, and he showed me the lug wrench and the letter and the box. And he said I came in with him last night. He said that I killed Evelyn. And that it was all over the radio. And that he would protect me. And I don't know, detective, for the life of me, I can't remember a goddamn thing. I was angry with her. Really angry. I could have done it. Was it me?
James Tiernan, I'm charging you with the murder of Evelyn Summers. I believe you didn't know what you were doing. I'll speak to the DA on your behalf. That's the best I can do for you now.
Do you own a car, Tiernan?
No, I don't.
Have access to a lug wrench?
We use a lot of them to clear jams in the pin setting machines.
Evelyn was beaten to death with a lug wrench. We found a wrench at McCaffrey's apartment.
You see? It was McCaffrey. He had nothing but hatred for me and Evelyn.
Coroner's report says that Evelyn was killed with a wrench. I think you did it and then planted the evidence at McCaffrey's apartment for us to find.
We went to his apartment. McCaffrey was up on the roof. Evelyn stole the book. McCaffrey went crazy when he found out. He said he would put her out of her misery. He can be very cruel.
I want the truth. I think you broke into McCaffrey's apartment and planted a lug wrench there.
I didn't do that, and there's no way you can prove any different. As hard as this is for you to contemplate, I really loved Evelyn. She was kind and gentle to me.
Evelyn was missing a ring from her right hand.
That's strange. She always wore it. A big black circular disc with a white E in the middle. It was made from an old typewriter key, a present from the prop department at her old movie studio.
We're going to talk to McCaffrey. You need to think about what you've told us, Tiernan. You're not in the clear.
No, don't go! We both want the truth here.
Aristotle's Metaphysics, the book that belonged to McCaffrey.
McCaffrey saw her looking at her once and laughed in her face.
And you're saying Evelyn stole it.
I've had my say. I'll not say anything more. Don't talk to me about Evelyn anymore. It's too... I can't take it. Is standing around saying nothing, is this some kind of mental torture? You should let me go now. I've done nothing wrong. Smack me if you want, but I'm not answering any more questions.
I need the jacket on a Grosvenor McCaffrey. You ready to answer some questions?
You think I have all the answers?
People who run from the police usually have something to hide.
Touché, detective. Let's see where this takes us.
You told us you barely knew Evelyn Summers.
She hung around sometimes. I had very little to do with her.
So she was your follower.
That's one way of describing her. She was like a stray dog, desperate for a master.
Doesn't look good, Grosvenor. It's either you or Tiernan from where we're sitting.
Personally, I think Evelyn is better off, but I had nothing to do with it.
You'll have to do better than that, Grosvenor. We know about you and Evelyn.
Evelyn was a lush, and a boring one at that. You can't link her to me. Seems there's a serious gulf between what you think you know and what you actually do, Detective.
We know that you thought enough of her to loan out your copy of the Metaphysics.
I what? I did no such thing. That bitch stole that book from my apartment. The impudent fucking moron.
And that made you angry?
Angry? I was livid, looking up at me with that stupid face of hers, begging me to forgive her. Aha. Very good. That's one to you, Detective.
We found the lug wrench that Evelyn was battered with in your apartment, and the note from her mother, and your blood-stained clothing. We have you cold, McCaffrey.
You think if I could be bothered to murder Evelyn Summers, I would be stupid enough to leave the evidence in my apartment?
So you're telling me you were set up?
That's my conclusion.
If it was planted there, then some evil mastermind must be at work here. You got a name, McCaffrey?
Tiernan. Who else?
I was under the impression you thought Tiernan incapable of tying his own shoelaces.
I don't believe you, Grosvenor. The evidence says that you killed her.
You can prove that I wanted to kill Evelyn? Will there be much more of this? It's just that I wanted to get home and work.
Tiernan is prepared to testify that you threatened Evelyn's life in his presence.
Self-preservation. That's understandable. Okay, I'll level with you. Tiernan killed Evelyn. He came to me for help. I listened to him, and he explained why he did it.
Tiernan went to you for help. You expect me to buy that?
That's how it went down. I told him he made a terrible mistake, but he would be throwing his life away if he went to the cops. I took his things and told him I would dispose of them.
But you didn't.
Speak to Tiernan. He'll give it up.
Evelyn died sometime around midnight. Remind me, where were you?
I was at home, writing. I'm working on a manuscript.
And you have someone who can corroborate your story?
Unfortunately, no.
You're going to need to do better if you don't want to swing for this.
I was having a political meeting in my apartment.
Cheese and crackers for the fifth columnist.
Some of these people will corroborate your story.
I won't give up names of party members.
Good. It's your funeral.
You're lying, McCaffrey. You were out at the rail yard.
And what do you have that proves I was there? How about half of Augusta Summers' last correspondence with her daughter?
What are you talking about?
After you were done beating Evelyn, you searched her and found her mother's letter. That old lady's anguish amused you. I know nothing about a letter or Evelyn's goddamn mother. So what was it doing on your writing desk? I don't know, but if I didn't put it there, somebody else did. Try exercising your powers of deduction on that. You're going to have to do better than that, Detective.
You were in the war?
Yes, I was. Seeing the things that I saw. It changes a man. I came back here determined to change things. All I wanted was a pen and an opportunity to speak out.
You told us before that you had only minor run-ins with the police. You didn't mention petty theft.
I've never been in trouble for violence. That's the salient point here, isn't it?
So that's the extent of your criminal record?
That's right. I'm fighting for social change. I'm no criminal.
You're holding out on us, McCaffrey. What other trouble have you been in?
I was in a few labor disputes before the war. I didn't use my real name.
You're lying, McCaffrey. You have a history of violence towards women.
How do you turn a couple parking tickets and a petty theft misdemeanor into an assault charge? No man should be without history, Detective. Mine is colorful, but nothing more.
We know all about you and your dishonorable discharge, beating some poor woman near to death in Syracuse. You've never been in combat, McCaffrey. Your whole life is a fraud.
You beat her because she stole from you, because she tried to outsmart you.
The ignorant audacity of the bitch! What is a man supposed to do? Sit there and take it? How is a man supposed to call himself a man?
And Evelyn Summers, a poor, drunken nobody, stole your book.
And she got what was coming to her!
It's either going to be you or Tiernan, Grosvenor.
Make it stick, detective. The party has good lawyers.
Grosvenor McCaffrey, I'm charging you with the murder of Evelyn Summers. She was a sad lady who never hurt anyone except herself. I hope God finds a way to forgive you.
Find another fall guy, detective. I'm done. Railroad someone else. I'm not saying anything. I'm finished. You're going home empty-handed on this one, detective.
We got suspects piling up at Central. I say we get there and work them over. We've done the legwork. Let's get back to Central and roll one of these sons of bitches. Put the heat to one of them, Phelps. Your choice. We need some leverage. If McCaffrey was in the crotch, R&I will have his service records.
Congratulations, boys. You bagged the fine catch. Another red to boot. Grand. Now, I want you to put this business about a repeat offender out of your mind. This McCaffrey creature shows no remorse, and neither will the grand jury. You would have to walk a long mile to find a better candidate for an unmarked plot at a prison graveyard. I'm going to assume that you both have very good excuses for what happened in my station today. You had a perfectly good candidate for a capital case, and somehow managed to choose a weak-willed sub-sister while the murderous Red walks scot-free. I'm having doubts about what you're prepared to do to make a case, Phelps. If ever there was a time for manufacturing evidence or extracting a confession, this was it. Now get out of my sight. Run down pickpockets and fruit flies and leave the real work for men of substance.